No, 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 no! Oh, you know what? Stop being a baby because it's time for the very curious news of the amazing Conrad. Very curious news item number 1. My dream is over. All I wanted was for Messi to play against Ronaldo in the quarterfinals of this World Cup, and not even 15 minutes into the France-Argentina game, Kylian Mbappe easily pulls away from 3 Argentina defenders, in his own half, by the way, and then runs straight at Marcos Rojo, which is always a good idea if you have some pace, because Rojo has none. And then Rojo did what Rojo does, and that's try to be physical instead of actually trying to play proper defense, and that makes me frustrated, and it also led to a penalty, which Antoine Griezmann coolly scored. And despite Argentina actually mounting a comeback with goals on either side of halftime, including a bombazo from Angel Di Maria, it was clear who was the better team, and that was France. Especially since Argentina's manager, Jorge Sampaoli, who shouldn't be Argentina's manager anymore, by the way, well, he started Christian Pavón instead of Gonzalo Higuaín or Paulo Dybala, and then he subbed Pavón out for Maxi Mesa when they're down a goal, instead of putting on Higuaín or Dybala, who are 2 known and proven goal scorers, which just defies logic. I mean, what the Argentina didn't even have its best 11 on the field at any point during this game, or even the whole tournament. And honestly, someone tell me, what would have been the real risk of putting all of your best attacking players on the field at once? I mean, I would have considered Higuaín and Aguero up top. And yes, 2 strikers. I like 2 strikers. Deal with it. Then I'd let Messi start out wide, but then drift into any open pockets of space that he sees. I'd put Di Maria on the other side, and then Banega underneath, and then Dybala is the first option off the bench for Higuaín. But the problem is, well, it's not these guys. It's the back 4 and the goalkeeper. They weren't good enough, they aren't good enough, and France, specifically Mbappe, exposed them as France scored 4 as a team in their 4-3 win. However, can we take a minute to talk about what I love about Mbappe? Yes? Am I getting your approval? Great. I love his composure and his awareness, both on the field, where he showed these qualities in abundance in setting up the penalty and in scoring both of his goals, and off the field, where he made the decision to donate all of his World Cup money to charity because he doesn't believe that he should be paid for representing his country, which is a big-time move. And because there's so much hype surrounding him at the tender age of 19, and it doesn't faze him. He doesn't buy into it. He keeps pushing to get better and better, and I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that I believe he'll win a Ballon d'Or in the next 5 years, maybe less. And speaking of the Ballon d'Or, which immediately makes me think of Messi and Ronaldo. And actually, you know what? Let's leave the Ballon d'Or conversation aside for now. We'll get to that shortly. And just talk about Messi in general, because what happens now? Does he officially retire from his national team with no major trophy, which will always be used against him in the conversation as to who is the best ever? Or does he come back to try and win the Copa America next summer? Personally, I would stay and fight it out and keep pushing for a major trophy while I was still physically able to do so. But if you're not enjoying it up here or in here, then the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. Very curious news item number 2. Uruguay beat Portugal. Sure, they let Pepe, of all players, score on a set piece, which honestly should count as double because the Uruguayans are so good on set pieces, both offensively and defensively. But thankfully, they had Edinson Cavani absolutely feeling it today, and he scored 2 fantastic and well-taken goals, which gave Uruguay the 2-1 win to knock out Cristiano Ronaldo and the 2016 Euros champions. Also, and maybe I've mentioned this at some point along the way because we have done over 500 videos now, which is crazy, but I always felt like Cavani was a big confidence guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's so streaky as a striker that when his confidence is down, he's shown countless times that if he misses one chance, that leads to him missing his next chance instead of just letting it go and getting out of his own head. Whereas some players are excellent at having short memories and keeping their focus. However, in fairness to him, I feel like Cavani has gotten better at this part of the game, but it's only felt recent because I just remember making fun of him a lot for missing easy chances. I don't feel like I do that so much anymore. Anyway, so when he scored off of a set piece against Russia in the last group game, which fortunately fell to him and he just tapped it in, I knew it was gonna give him the confidence to relax. And then after he scored early in this one, about 7 minutes in, it confirmed that confidence. So by the time the opportunity came to score his second, he looked so relaxed and calm out there in what was a very difficult situation since Portugal had control and momentum after they tied up the match 1-1. So in summation, I was really impressed with his composure in that moment, which made him my man of the match. But then he came off hurt, so we'll see how severe that is before they play France in the quarterfinals. And now let's talk about Cristiano, because though I thought his impact felt less against Uruguay, Portugal played their best game of the tournament, which is a shame because had they played this way against Iran, they would have won the group and then faced Russia in the round of 16 instead of Uruguay, which they most likely would have won, right? Because Russia isn't very good, and that would have helped them book a spot in the quarterfinals, most likely against Croatia, where anything could have happened. So when the emotion subsides and they look back on this tournament 6 months, 5 years, 10 years from now, they should be 100% kicking themselves for letting that Iran game slip away from them. Very curious news item, number 3. Now let's talk about the Ballon d'Or. And as I see it, the 3 major contenders for the award through the first half of the year are Mohamed Salah, Leo Messi, and Cristiano Ronaldo. But now, taking this World Cup into consideration, I don't know. It's a little bit harder to say. So despite being less than 100% health-wise and still scoring 2 goals for his country in 2 games, Egypt didn't play well, and they finished last in their group. So whether it's fair or not, Egypt's overall performance will be attached to Salah when it comes time for the voters to make their pick. And it's the same for Messi, who, despite scoring one of my favorite goals of the tournament against Nigeria and assisting on 2 others, he too will be judged by his team's overall performance, which, let's be honest, was not good through about 75% of that tournament. And I feel like they got lucky to even get out of their group before finally being outclassed by France. Also, I don't think Messi played poorly, but I think we all expected him to be even more decisive, especially against France in the knockout rounds. But in fairness to him, he had N'Golo Kanté following him around, and for me, N'Golo Kanté is the best defensive midfielder in the world. So that must be pretty annoying to have somebody of that caliber following you around all game. And as for Cristiano, he scored 4 goals, which included the best free kick of the World Cup because of all the pressure he was under in that moment. There was about, less than 10 minutes left, and what is still my favorite game of the tournament, Portugal's 3-3 draw with Spain. Also, I just want to mention that I feel like he's really come into his own as a leader as he's gotten older, as he wills his team to win games. But unfortunately, like Messi, they both still didn't do the business and score their first ever goal in the knockout rounds of a World Cup when both of their countries desperately needed them to do so, which means if there's no clear standout performer for the winners of the World Cup, like Neymar or Coutinho with Brazil, or Luka Modric with Croatia, or Kylian Mbappe with France, and I feel like all those guys are capable of being standout performers, but if it doesn't happen, then I think the Ballon d'Or will go to Ronaldo because of the Champions League success, and for whatever reason, I think winning the FIFA Club World Cup matters too because it's a collection of all the top clubs from around the world. But if Ronaldo has a slow start like he did last season, and Messi scores a ton of goals in the last half of this calendar year, I think the award will go to Messi, though I suppose Salah could blow up too, but I still don't think they'd give it to him. I think they'll just honor him by making him a finalist. Very curious news item, number 4. It's previews and predictions time. Well, a mini version of it. And we're gonna start with Spain versus Russia, which is probably the easiest game to call in the whole round of 16 because Russia beat 2 bad teams in the group and they got run over by Uruguay, while Spain, despite showing some age and vulnerability, especially in the back, are Spain. They're so good. So I don't see a team with this type of quality and experience getting rattled by the fact that the hosts will have most of the stadium and all the country behind them. Now, had Russia played anyone else, I would have said that maybe, just maybe, the home field advantage would have been a factor, as well as the 3-3 result they pulled off against Spain in a friendly back in November, but it was just a friendly, and friendlies don't matter, so I'm gonna say Spain wins this 3-1. And now it's time to talk about Croatia versus Denmark, or should I say, the best team so far in this tournament versus a team that is on an 18-game unbeaten streak. 9 wins and 9 draws, which is a national record for my dad's country. That said, Denmark hasn't necessarily lit it up in this tournament, relying more on grinding out results, which is evidenced by them having 6 clean sheets in their last 7 games in all competitions. But Croatia, who not only have more talent than the Danes, they got to rest that talent in the last group game against Iceland, as their manager made 9 changes to the starting 11, and they still won 2-1, which speaks to the depth and quality in their team. So, like Spain, this is a pretty easy pick for me to make, but I think the game will be tight, so I'm gonna go with a 1-0 win to Croatia. And all right, that is it. That is all I got, but now it's your turn. What should Messi do? Should he continue to play for Argentina or retire? I think he should stay. Can Uruguay go the whole way? Maybe. And what are your thoughts on the Ballon d'Or? Definitely curious to hear those. And who do you like in tomorrow's games? Let me know your thoughts, and I will catch you tomorrow. Later.